The 4.5 banners have been revealed, but not only that. The 4 stars for the Chronicled Wish were also revealed, and it is not what I expected at all. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. And by the way, with the Chronicled Wish and the new banners, I will finally acquire every single character in the game, and I just have a handful of characters, just 3 or so left to finish building, including the new ones that I'm going to be getting before I complete that goal. So if you like what we do here on the channel, please subscribe. It actually really helps me a lot. So as usual, we're going to talk about the 5 stars, the 4 stars, and the weapon banner. But I really do want to start with the Chronicled Wish because I think it's something that everyone has just been waiting with bated breath. What are they doing with the 4 stars? How long will the banner last? So Chronicled Wish, Ode to the Dawn Breeze. Wish duration after the version 4.5 update, and then it has the date here. That's just the date of the update. It doesn't, it says duration, but it doesn't actually tell us when it's going to end. It's the same duration that they give for like the weapon banner, so that's weird. Maybe they said it somewhere else. During this event, you can freely select and chart a course towards your chosen boosted 5-star character or weapon amongst all 5-star items. Eula, Albedo, we already know it's these characters and it's these weapons here. None of these characters are ones, I already talked about the Chronicled Wish, so if you want a detailed breakdown on everything to do with the 5 stars for the Chronicled Wish, you can go check out my video on that. I just made a Klee guide, I've got a Eula guide, updated one coming very soon. I made a Jean guide very recently, it's still very updated, and I will be having a new Albedo guide and probably a new Mona guide at some point during this version as well, so we've got lots of content coming. I also have an updated Dilute guide, so if you want detailed information on all these characters, it's all either been released or it's all about to come. None of them are good for meta, right? If you're looking to make the strongest account possible, you know, there's way stronger characters than Eula. Farina is just better than Mona in pretty much every way. Chiori is just going to be better Albedo, at least for now. Linny is essentially better Klee, and there's just a lot of great pyro units in general. Hu Tao. Diluc is good if you get him and you want to build him for plunge. He's got some of the best plunge multipliers in the game, but like you don't want to wish for him just for that. Plenty of characters can do it better, like Hu Tao, for example. And then Jean is sort of just worse than Shen Yun. So none of these characters are ones that you want to go for, but if you're really simp for one of these characters, you should get them. Like all of them perform well enough, except I haven't ever tested Mona, so I can't speak to that, but all the rest of them perform very well. Well, also I haven't tested Albedo, but I know it's fine. And if you lose your 50-50, it's kind of cool because when you lose your 50-50, you lose to one of these characters. So you might lose to Eula constellations, you might lose to Klee constellations and work towards C2. That's really freaking cool, honestly. So I really do encourage you, if you really love these characters, to go for them, but none of them are meta pulls. For the weapons, the Beacon of the Reed Sea, and I thought the Hunter's Path was on here, but I don't see it. Yeah, Hunter's Path is on there, they're just not showing it on here. So Hunter's Path is a great bow. You know, if you really want a 5-star stat stick bow, Hunter's Path is a good one. It's especially good for Ganyu Tenari. I talked about it earlier. I talked about Beacon. They're very good weapons, especially for their signature characters, but they're also very good generalist weapons overall, and none of the other ones are really worth charting a course for, except for, of course, Song of Broken Pines if you're a Eula main. But even then, it could be argued that Beacon is a better weapon to go for. Like, I would consider, if you don't care about drip, it's much more valuable for your account to go for Beacon for your Eula. It also makes her crit easier to build, which is really nice. Even though Song of Broken Pines is technically a little bit better, they're so close that it's much better to go for Beacon because it's so much more universal. But what I really did want to point out was the 4 stars that are available. So 4-star characters: Mika, Rosaria, Sucrose, Diona, Noelle, Bennett, Fischl, Amber, Razor, Kaya, Barbara, Lisa. What a lineup. This is so cool. Okay, so these are all the 4 stars that are available on the Chronicled Wish. So kind of an L, decent, I don't know, hard to say. So like, this is not like awful. I guess Noelle's kind of, you know, most people would consider an L. Diana kind of not that great these days. Barbara kind of whatever these days. It's hard to say like really how good. It's very account dependent. Like, do you want these characters or not? For most players, I mean, I'm a big proponent of Lisa. She's actually being good. Getting constellations with Lisa is pretty cool. This is the best chance to ever to get constellations for standard banner characters. I don't recommend wishing for them, by the way, though, because like it's going to be really hard to pinpoint these characters specifically, but it is easier than, like, you have a better chance of getting them than just from from the random pool. So it's kind of really interesting. I think that there's, like, from what I'm understanding, there's no 50-50. It's just one of these characters. I mean, I'm definitely hoping for some Kaya, Lisa constellations, but it's definitely, it's not like they're good enough banners that you really want to wish on them. I think it's mostly just interesting that it's so different. I think that's really the biggest thing here. And I think what's also interesting is that it's definitely a sign of things to come. Like, you can imagine next time it's going to be all the leeway 4-stars, right? And we're going to have, Razor's on it too, right? Yeah, I missed Razor. So next one's going to be something like this. And then the Inazuma one. That's really interesting. I'm interested to see, like, are they always going to keep the starter characters on it? Are they going to have a smaller 4-star selection for the future Chronicled Wish? Like, I think that it's like, it's not super interesting for this one because it sort of just is what it is. Like, you're really only wishing on this banner if you love one of these characters, and you're never wishing for 4-stars. There is some value here if you get lucky, but it's not like a crazy value of any kind. I think what's really interesting is what's the future going to be like. And for the 4-stars, the 4-star weapons, they're listed here. I think this is just the standard banner selection of weapons. Yeah, I don't think we're missing any here. These aren't like exclusive. Well, there is the Mitternat's Waltz, the Alley Hunter, and the Alley Flash, and the Alley Flash. Okay, so it's not the standard banner selection. It's the standard banner selection plus the Mondstadt limited banner weapons. So this tells me that for future banners, again, not that interesting here because none of the, the Alley Hunter, the Alley Flash is decent unvetted, but the Mitternat's Waltz, the Alley Hunter, these aren't like that great of weapons, but they are previously weapon banner exclusive weapons. And the Leeway one won't be that interesting, but the Sumeru one, you will finally have a chance at least at getting those Sumeru exclusive ones, which are actually really good, or at least the Kazuo sword is. So interesting. This is very interesting. I mean, it's good to know. There's not much recommendation I can give you because it's such a wide smattering. It's cool that it's cool, but it just sort of is what it is, There's nothing crazy to get hyped about. I'm hyped personally because I need Mona, Albedo, and Mika, and Lisa, Amber, Kaya constellations. But for everyone else, like, this is probably a skip, and it's really interesting to wait and see what's happening in the future. Moving on to the character banners. So Chiori and Ito. Ito is going to get a buff from Chiori. We already know that Chiori is going to do good damage. I'm testing her. We're going to have a full guide the moment she drops. She's going to be best in slot for Ito teams. Pretty much 100% guarantee. I think what remains to see is how much value she has outside of that. Like, how strong is, like, what I'm really most curious about is just a double Geo core of her and Zhongli. Because Zhongli summons a construct. They get Geo Resonance together. She does off-field damage. He does defensive utility and shred. So could double Geo make a return for Hu Tao? Could double Geo make a return for Yoimiya, for other archetypes? Can double Geo be good again, right? Will it compare to double Hydro? I don't think it really has a chance of competing with double Hydro with Farina, but maybe double Hydro with Xingqiu Yulan, maybe it has a chance of competing there. So that's what I'm most interested in testing. And of course, I'll test everything else possible as well. So I don't recommend wishing for Chiori unless you're an Ito main. I don't recommend, or maybe a Ningguang main. I don't recommend wishing for Chiori right away. Unless you're Ito main, Noelle main, Chiori simp. I think those are the only DPSs that use a Geo construct, because Noelle doesn't summon a Geo construct, so she won't take advantage of it. I think she's going to be good with Navia, probably even best in slot with Navia, but we'll just have to test and wait and see. That's what I really want, is for her to be best in slot with Navia, but I'll let you know day one whether or not that will go. And as far as Ito, his place in the meta is pretty simple, right? He is the best Geo DPS, but it's not crazy, right? He's going to get better, which is awesome, but he's not a character you pull for meta. You don't need Geo for meta. At most, you need Geo for the Wolf Lord, and even then, that can be solved by just teching a Zhongli into your team, teching a Yunjin into your team, teching a Ningguang with Thrilling Tales onto your team. There's no need to have a Geo DPS in particular, and Ito is not like a top tier DPS. I think he'll probably, depending on how good Chiori is, maybe he'll get bumped up and be one of the upper tier DPSs now, but I highly doubt Chiori will be so good that he'll be like a top tier, like Novelette level DPS. I just doubt it. So he's a character that you should get if you want to get him, and I think he's fun and solid and always good. He has deceptively good AoE, and I'll be building and testing him. He's a character that I don't have yet, so I'll be getting him day one as soon as he comes out, and I'll make my guide a couple days later. Normally I have the guides for the new characters released, but I'm going to be getting him, Albedo, Chiori, and doing extensive testing for a couple days, then release my guide, because I just want to make sure I give the best, but I know that he's not going to be, I know he's not going to be a top tier character. So these banners are save banners for most people, especially when we start looking at the 4 stars. Yunjin is one of the characters that is aged the poorest, I think. Like, she had so much potential when she was released, and she was only really best in slot with Yoimiya, but nowadays she's not even best in slot really with Yoimiya anymore. And she's fun with Yoimiya, but she's not even best in slot anymore. So that's kind of sad, right? She's pretty comparable to Double Hydro. If your Yoimiya and your Yunjin are both very invested, it's like maybe even potentially a little bit better if your Yoimiya is really, really cracked, because she'll buff Yoimiya's damage, whereas Double Hydro, they do their own damage. But other than that, she's just like, it's not like Yoimiya is a top team. So you've got Ayato, and it's only really like fun meme. Who else? Wanderer, she's okay, but like she's mostly again like a tech for when the Geo Wolf Lord's in the Abyss, and she can really nicely break those things and have some synergy. Other than that, it's like whatever. Goro is a key component for Edo constellations. I think one of the best parts about these banners for Edo mains is if you don't have Ito yet, or even if you do but you don't have C6 Goro, you can wish for C6 Goro on the Chiori banner. So you can go for, your copy of Ito, then your copy of Chiori, and if you still don't have C6 Goro, you can go back to the Ito banner. Like, you have choices to hopefully get your Constellation 6 Goro from 2 banners that are beneficial for you. So that's really, really cool. But yeah, Goro, he's also necessary for Albedo, so would have been nice to see a way to get him on the Albedo banner, but nah. For Dori, she's a character that is better nowadays. Like, she is pretty darn underrated. Like, people think she's just bottom tier awful, but especially with Farina and now with Plunge as well, she can do some stuff. I'll be making a Dori guide. You'll be able to see. Don't like be excited about getting your Dori, but if you got C6, if you happen to get yourself a C6 Dori, make sure to do a little subscribe and keep an eye out for the Dori guide. I've been on a roll releasing guides for characters that nobody cares about, so get ready for the Dori guide. It's coming this version sometime while this banner is live. But Dori, she's a little bit underrated. She's not so awful. But yeah, these banners for the general player are bad, right? Like, the thing about Dori is that she has her own team. She has no synergy with Ito. Yunjin has no synergy with Ito or Chiori. Like, maybe somehow you can do on-field Chiori with what are you gonna do? On-field Chiori with Albedo, Zhongli, Goro, but then you don't even have room for Yunjin. So I don't know, man. I'm not seeing the vision for this banner aside from Goro. Like, the other 2 are pretty bad, even for Mono Geo enjoyers. I think the best thing that can be said for these banners is that you don't have like people who don't want these characters, they dumped bad 4 stars on these banners that you don't have to see them. So the Kazuha and Novelette banners that are coming in the second half are gonna be juicy, or at least way more they have a higher potential of being juicy for sure. And then what about the weapon banner? Ali Hunter, not good. Ali Flash Sword, it's okay, but I would still recommend probably Sapwood Blade for your Bennett, or Skyward Blade if you have it. Favonius Codex, it's okay. Dragon's Bane, it's okay, and the bell, it sucks. Like, these 4 stars are yikes. No Favonius Bow, no Favonius Sword, no Favonius Lance. That's pretty much all you hope for on these banners. The weapon banner for 5 stars is pretty good. Pretty good. Like, Chiori, they showed us her weapon. Crit damage weapon, gives normal attack bonus, gives skill bonus. It's a good weapon, good general stat stick. Like, not for everyone, but it's gonna be solid. Redhorn is pretty close to best in slot on most Claymore users because of its high crit damage. So overall, like, I wouldn't recommend like general players like wish on this banner, but if you're going for Chiori's weapon, you happen to get Redhorn, that's not too bad. If you're going for Redhorn, happen to get Chiori's weapon, that's not too bad. Like, these banners are all right for Mono Geo enjoyers, and the 4 stars are pretty coat. So I wish you as many off-banner Favonius Lances and Swords as possible is really, but at least that's one good thing about this, right? Is that we don't have to worry about Eula, Song of Broken Pines ruining the weapon banner. We don't have to worry about Albedo's The Summit Shaper ruining the weapon banner, right? Don't have to worry about Klee's Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds ruining the weapon banner. That's really nice. So we're more likely to get quality weapon banners because of the Chronicled Wish having sort of the less desirable 5 stars who usually have less desirable 5-star weapons. So I also did want to talk about the new free weapon that is coming. It was announced, I believe, a couple days ago. Yeah, so Chiori's normal attack damage, elemental skill damage, and after someone deals geo damage, the effects double and the defense is increased by 20%. So this is also a good option if you don't have Cinnabar Spindle for Albedo and you want to get him a real weapon. This is going to be great on him. It probably edges out Cinnabar Spindle, like with all these stats. Yeah, elemental skill, defense, crit damage. Yeah, it's going to be good for Albedo for sure. You can probably skip if you have Cinnabar Spindle. Like Cinnabar Spindle is actually like secretly a 5-star for Albedo specifically. The jury's still out on whether it will work properly on Chiori, but it'll be solid regardless. And then the free polearm is an HP percent that restores energy. This is great. This is great for Toma Shieldbot, for Zhongli. Is this? Yeah, because this is actually like a pretty decent substat. Well, it actually has a lower HP substat than the Black Tassel, which is hilarious. So if you want just HP, then you're better off just going with the Black Tassel. So maybe Zhongli, he doesn't really need energy restoration if you're doing HP because you're not really using your burst. Oh, but he doesn't heal unless he's C6. It's when the wielder performs healing. So this is Chevreuse. This is Mika. Healing polearm character. So it's not Toma. It's Chevreuse and Mika, right? That's it. No. Yao Yao maybe? Yep, I could see this being good for Yao Yao. So it's Yao Yao, Chevreuse, and Mika. Like, this is a good weapon. I wouldn't recommend everyone build it right away, but it's a good weapon to have in your back pocket. Like, definitely play the event and get this one. And it looks really, really cool. Really, really nice design on that. So I think that, like, my overall takeaway from these banners is that they're pretty yikes, but they really have exciting future potential written all over them. I do want to also just make you keep in mind, obviously we know that Kazuha and Novelette are coming next patch. Check out my Who's Worth Pulling video. But also Farina is almost definitely coming next patch. So Kazuha are coming next banner, but Farina's coming next patch almost for sure because Archon's always rerun in 4.6 in like 0.6 patches. So Farina is, in my opinion, the best character in the game. So you want to get her above everything else if you don't have her already. That's above Kazuha, that's above Novelette. In my opinion, I think Farina is the best character and most flexible character in the game. So I think, yeah, current banners kind of but future potential pretty high. Let me know what you're excited about. Also, we should be getting drip marketing anytime soon. Who's it going to be? Everyone seems to be asking for Arlecchino. Let's wait and see. I'm excited. Take care. Bye for now.